I received a comment on one of my recent videos which said, "My biggest fear of getting older is losing my childlike view to the world." Suddenly the piece of meaningless art I was making in that video that you can see in this video really just, looks like a kid scribbled all over a piece of paper, had meaning. I really want to make a whole video dedicated to the topic of making like a kid and what we lose in both art and life as we age, since it's just a really interesting topic. But here's what I will say in this video. Definitely, I think the most obvious benefit of being a kid is that lack of pressure. Maybe you have pressure from your parents, but overall when you're younger, time just moves slower, there's less to be worried about, and you're able to bring an innocent view to the world and your own life that I really think we spend the rest of our life as adults trying to retrieve. All of that is probably because as a kid you just don't have the same level of consciousness and awareness as you do as an adult. I think the reason we rarely see young artists, and I'm saying young, kids, artworks being celebrated, other than just for realism, wow, that kid is surprisingly good at drawing a realistic car, or wow, that guy just drew a perfectly accurate Batman figurine. You remember those kids in class and everyone thought it was the coolest thing? Anyways, I feel like the reason we don't celebrate kids' artworks as much, I think it's just because that lack of awareness you have as a kid really just means that the art you make when you're a kid is just going to be less meaningful. Obviously, not all art has to have meaning, and we have different reasons for creating and blah, 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 blah. But simply, I think art that's usually remembered, that changes things, that changes people, that has lasting impact, will usually have meaning, or at least intention. And I think that's just a really hard thing to achieve as a kid. Even if you have a lot going on and a lot you could express and you want to express, it's really hard to get that out in one place and be organized about your thoughts. And I think that's really our advantage as adults when it comes to art making. Anyways, we'll come back to that topic in a future video, but for now, I want to talk about a new view I have on art making a little bit, which is, I think that my best art, or at least my favorite stuff that I've made, is usually made when I start off making without intention, and then find the meaning in the meaningless art that I've created. Start a piece, leave it on a wall, and stare at it until I figure out what comes next and why my subconscious decided to make those weird marks. And I just think when I start an art piece knowing exactly what I want, I kind of get stressed out and either never continue it or feel like it didn't live up to the idea. And when I make a piece completely meaninglessly, let's say I just paint a reference photo, I enjoy the actual act of creating, but I just don't feel as satisfied with the final product. And so I think the game of looking for meaning in the meaningless is the perfect compromise for me, because it means I'm not approaching a blank slate, which helps get rid of pressure, and it still helps me feel satisfied in creating, and even in creating freely and meaninglessly, because I know my brain will later be able to make something more of it, if that makes sense. Anyways, this is really just a quick video. This piece isn't done, and again, I don't know where it's going, but that's the fun in it. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.